Bill Gates recently hinted that he would like to see online speech shaped to curb misinformation by ensuring that people are truly identified online. The online environment described by Gates seems to require some sort of digital ID. Here to discuss is Peter Gietl, managing editor for Return and Frontier magazine. And Peter, let's go into this. What impact would this all have to have for the online community to have digital IDs for everyday Americans?
Well, I mean, we don't have to imagine, we don't have to extrapolate. We see it every single day right now in China. They have a version of digital ID in order to do anything online. And I mean, everything, all banking, commerce, job is all tied to a single online ID that the government gives you. And if they decide that you're saying the wrong things or they want to turn off that digital ID, you have no recourse. So we already see what it could look like and what they're building towards.
So how do we cut this off at the pass? I mean, maybe before we even get there, isn't it already the case that we sort of have digital IDs here, right? Isn't it building here? Like, it's not official, the government doesn't have it, but we all can be traced, tracked, and presumably punished if some powerful entity wanted to.
Yes, that absolutely exists. And I mean, we already know, I mean, the credit card companies, a lot of these places have been building this digital ID structure kind of in the background. They haven't had the ability or the will yet to roll it out in a way of like, we're going to start censoring people and tying this ID to everything that you do on the internet. And that's what's disturbing of what Gates is advocating, is he's describing being tied to a single ID to use the internet. And that would make it much more easy to track people and control, even though they do track and generally know what you're doing online.
Now, we know that this came about in a big way in COVID. They tried to push this through. Thankfully, it didn't happen. We were able to successfully push it off for a little while longer, but now they're bringing it back around. They're circling back to digital IDs. Is there any reason that right now is the time, or they just really want to push this through, and so they're just giving it another attempt?
I think it's probably the latter. They really want to push this through. They know that even if they lose at one time, they keep at it. They keep pushing it. And, you know, that's an excellent point you're bringing up about COVID, is they tried to bring this out. And once again, who was behind a lot of those push was Bill Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And I mean, Return did reporting earlier in the year about they're rolling this out in Africa as a digital ID pass. And unfortunately, a lot of the really scary stuff they kind of test in Africa because they know that the media doesn't really report on these things. And it's a great way to see how it operates in a society. So it is, and Gates was behind that with MasterCard. So it is really scary.
I mean, it is scary. And here's what's scary to me, and I'm curious what you think. Will people just accept this? I mean, it seems like things that were unimaginable, right? Not that many years ago, that you would never say. You'd never say yes to the table, the table of contents. You wouldn't say yes to, being tracked in all these ways, but yet we do. So are people just going to go along with this in the West at some point and say, oh yeah, we all need our digital pass, of course, safety?
Well, I mean, for the most part, we've seen on the internet that people are very happy to sacrifice their freedom in exchange for security, or even more importantly, convenience. However, I mean, Blaze audience, a lot of different audiences left and right are really starting to wake up about some of the dangers of this. And I think that if there is a core constituency of people on the right and the left that are recognize this for what this is, which is a monopolistic, globalistic, corporate control of your life, if enough people are willing to fight against it and are just like, I'm not going to participate in it, I think it does make adoption a lot harder than they would want it to be.
But you have to win every single time, right? They're going to push this up. We know if Bill Gates is behind this, right, whether it was COVID, right now, 5 years in the future, they're going to keep trying this. So the American people, to Matt's point, have to have that energy to fight it every single time.
Yeah, and there are ways in which we can fight it, right? I mean, we do have ways in which, and that's what Return is about, showing people alternative paths. So at least you can get ahead of this stuff before God knows what happens.